Fight fans, welcome back to the channel where we break down the biggest stories in combat sports. Today we're diving into one of the most intriguing rivalries brewing in the UFC. The question on everyone's mind, is Islam Makhachev avoiding Ilia Topuria's challenge? Or is this all part of a masterful game of psychological warfare? Picture this: two champions, two unstoppable forces, and two completely different fighting styles. On one side, we have Islam Makhachev, the lightweight king who has carried the torch passed down by Khabib Nurmagomedov. His grappling is suffocating, his composure is unmatched, and his reign at 155 pounds has been nothing short of dominant. On the other side, there's Ilia El Matador Topuria, the undefeated featherweight sensation who has been bulldozing his way to superstardom. With devastating knockout power and slick submissions, Topuria believes he's ready to move up and take on one of the most feared fighters in MMA history. But here's the catch: this fight hasn't been booked yet, and fans are asking, why? Is Makhachev avoiding Topuria because he sees him as too dangerous? Or is this simply a matter of timing and strategy? Stick around as we break down every angle of this rivalry, from their fighting styles to their personalities, to what this matchup means for the future of the UFC. And hey, if you love MMA deep dives like this one, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Let's rewind to where it all began. The seeds of this rivalry were planted in late 2024. After Islam Makhachev successfully defended his lightweight title against Dustin Poirier at UFC 296, he hinted at moving up to welterweight. It seemed like he was ready to leave the lightweight division behind without addressing some lingering questions. Questions like whether he could handle rising stars like Arman Tsarukyan, or even a super fight against Ilia Topuria. Meanwhile, Ilia Topuria was making waves of his own. Fresh off a brutal stoppage victory over Max Holloway to defend his featherweight belt, Topuria wasted no time calling out Makhachev during an Instagram live session. Islam talks about being pound for pound number one, but he doesn't want to fight me. Let's see who's really the best. The MMA world went into a frenzy. Fans started debating whether Topuria had what it takes to dethrone Makhachev, or whether this was just another case of a smaller fighter biting off more than he could chew. As discussions heated up online and among analysts, it became clear that both fighters had compelling arguments for why they should face each other next. Ilia Topuria isn't just talking. He's backing it up with performances that make you sit up and take notice. At just 27 years old, he's undefeated in 16 professional fights, a rare feat in modern MMA, and has showcased a complete skill set that makes him dangerous everywhere. His striking is explosive and precise, his grappling is slick and creative, and perhaps most importantly, his confidence is unshakable. In interviews leading up to 2025, Topuria hasn't held back when discussing Makhachev. He knows I'm dangerous. If I'm so small and easy to beat, why hasn't he signed the contract yet? These words aren't just bravado. They're calculated shots meant to rattle Makhachev and keep fans talking about this potential super fight. And let's be honest, Topuria has every reason to believe he can win this fight. He's proven that he can handle elite competition at featherweight, and many analysts believe his power will translate well at lightweight. But is calling out Makhachev a smart move, or is it premature? That brings us to Islam's side of the story. Islam Makhachev has built his career on discipline and patience, two qualities that have served him well as lightweight champion. When asked about Ilia Topuria's callouts during a recent interview with ESPN MMA, Makhachev responded calmly, "Ilia is a good fighter, but I have my own plans right now. He needs to focus on defending his belt before talking about mine." It's worth noting that Makhachev has been recovering from a hand injury since late 2024, a factor that might explain why he hasn't been quick to entertain any super fight negotiations. But some fans aren't buying it. They argue that injuries aside, Makhachev seems more interested in moving up to welterweight than defending his lightweight belt against hungry contenders like Arman Tsarukyan or Ilia Topuria. So is this avoidance or just smart business? Let's dig deeper into what this fight would mean for both men. For Ilia Topuria, this fight represents an opportunity to achieve something historic, becoming a dual division champion while still undefeated. A win over Islam Makhachev would catapult him into superstardom and cement his legacy as one of the greatest fighters of all time. But for Islam Makhachev, there's even more at stake. Losing to a smaller fighter like Topuria could tarnish his reputation as Khabib Nurmagomedov's successor and raise questions about whether he truly deserves the pound-for-pound #1 spot. And let's not forget about the financial stakes. A champ vs. champ fight between these two would likely headline a massive PPV event, possibly UFC 300, and generate millions in revenue for both fighters and the promotion. But what does history tell us about these types of matchups? Super fights often become defining moments in fighters' careers. Think Conor McGregor versus Eddie Alvarez or Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic. Now let's talk about how these two match up inside the octagon, and trust me when I say this would be a stylistic clash for the ages. Islam Makhachev is known for his grappling-heavy approach. Once he gets you on the ground, it feels like you're drowning in quicksand, but Ilia Topuria brings something different to the table. Explosive knockout power combined with underrated grappling skills that make him dangerous everywhere. If this fight stays standing, Topuria could have a significant advantage with his precision striking and ability to find openings for devastating counters. Imagine them standing toe-to-toe, Makhachev looking for takedowns while Topuria looks for openings for those powerful strikes. It would be an electrifying contest. Mind games are an integral part of MMA, and both fighters are playing them brilliantly right now. By repeatedly calling out Makhachev on social media and during interviews, Ilia Topuria has kept himself in the headlines while putting pressure on Islam to respond. Meanwhile, Makhachev has maintained an aura of calmness throughout it all, a tactic that might be designed to show fans and opponents that he isn't rattled by any of it. And let's not forget how social media amplifies these exchanges. Every tweet or Instagram post creates narratives fans buy into long before they ever step into the octagon together. So what do you think? Is Islam Makhachev avoiding Ilia Topuria because he sees him as too dangerous? Or is this all part of a bigger plan by both fighters and Dana White to build anticipation for what could be one of the biggest fights in UFC history? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive into MMA's hottest rivalry right now, smash that like button, subscribe for more content like this, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Until next time, stay sharp, stay strong, and keep fighting.